Yes, so we were weaving a story in the previous class regarding the passage of the impulses, how it is created and how it is passed. So since you had some confusion regarding it, we will start our session today with that. Once we will weave the story and then we will move on to today's topic. So before that, let us start. Who is row number 1?
Ma'am, me.
Start, Maisha.
Ma'am, first of all, the impulses generate chemical reactions and then they pass on to the forebrain.
No, I didn't ask the complete thing. You can just say one sentence like how I was saying the other day. The impulses are created as by the chemicals. The impulses based on the information received by the receptors.
Okay.
Yes, the impulses are created by the receptors based on the information received by the receptors. So on my screen, I am seeing people one after another. So I will give chance accordingly. So after this sentence, Maisha, you continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, receptors have already created the impulses. What will happen to those impulses?
Ma'am, they go to the forebrain and the
Which neuron will carry them?
sensory neuron.
So the sensory neuron will carry the impulses from the receptor to the forebrain. Yes?
Forebrain.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Forebrain, in forebrain also, which part of forebrain will they carry? Yuvika, my next question is for you. Yuvika, which part of the forebrain will the impulses be carried? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla. Which part they will carry?
Cerebrum.
Yes, cerebrum. So in the forebrain, they will carry to cerebrum. Good. Now next question comes to Farhan. From the forebrain, where will it go?
Ma'am, from the forebrain, it creates what it should do next, an impulse. Then it passes to the midbrain.
Yes, so the forebrain decides the reaction that has to be taken based on the impulses received and it sends to the midbrain. From the midbrain, where it will go? Ubaid. Ubaid, were you there in the last session? You were not there.
No, ma'am, I wasn't there.
Okay. Question, will you be able to answer?
No.
Okay. Pranavi, from the forebrain to midbrain, from the midbrain where it will pass?
From the midbrain, it goes to the hindbrain.
It goes to the hindbrain. Correct. Sophia, in hindbrain, what will be added to the impulse?
Ma'am, can you repeat it once?
In hindbrain, the impulses will get more. In hindbrain, in the impulses, what is added?
Precision.
Precision. Yes, in hindbrain, the impulses becomes more precise. From the hindbrain, this question goes to Jheel. From the hindbrain, where will it go, the impulse?
Ma'am, then it goes to medulla.
It goes to medulla. Jyotsna, my next question is to you. From medulla, where it will go? Jyotsna?
Ma'am, from the medulla, it goes to the spinal cord.
Spinal cord. And from the spinal cord, where it will go? Not to you, Jyotsna. Vaishnavi, from the spinal cord, where it will go?
Ma'am, to other parts of the body.
To other parts of the body. Like from the sense organ, the sensory neuron has carried the message in the same way from the brain to other parts of the body. Which neuron will carry? Karun?
Ma'am, the
One
nerve cell.
No, one is sensory neuron. The other neuron which carries the impulses is?
Is it nerve cells?
No, dear. Now, obviously neurons are made out of nerve cells, but what is the name of the neuron? Sarvajit, can you help me out? Tarun?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes,
Motor neuron.
motor neuron. Yeah, Dishita, you said, can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Dishita, your answer?
It was motor neuron.
Correct, motor neuron. Tarun, now can you
Yes, ma'am.
which neuron will carry the impulses from the brain to different parts of the body?
Motor neuron.
Motor neuron. So once again, I will say the complete thing. The receptors or sense organs creates the impulse based on the information collected from the surrounding. Impulse is carried away by the sensory neuron to the brain. The sensory neuron carries the forebrain. In forebrain, since all the logical thinking, reasoning, analysis, these things happen, the forebrain decides on the reaction that has to be taken based on the impulses being collected. From the forebrain, that reaction is passed to midbrain and then to hindbrain. In hindbrain, gets added to the action that has been decided. From the hindbrain, goes to medulla, then to spinal cord, and from the spinal cord, the motor neurons carry it to different parts of the body. So this is how the whole impulse, it moves. Now, quickly we will go through the recap slide. Shama, can you read the first 2 points of the recap slide?
Recap. Human brain is a soft, delicate organ which is protected by skull, meninges, and cerebrospinal fluid. Brain has three main parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain.
Correct. Vardha, next 2 points.
Brain has three main parts.
Already, Shamak read the next 2.
Next to the brain has three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain helps in critical thinking, memory, analyzing situations, etc.
Next 2, Vivek.
Most of the voluntary movements are controlled by forebrain. Hindbrain helps in involuntary movements, balancing of body, posture of body.
Yes. Dishita, last 2 points.
Yes, ma'am. Midbrain is a connector between forebrain and hindbrain. The last part of the hindbrain, that is medulla, extends to form the spinal cord.
Done. Next. Yuvika, next 2 points. Yuvika.
Yes, ma'am.
The first 2 points of this slide.
The first 2 points?
Yes.
The impulses are initiated by the sensory neurons and sent to the brain. The impulses are received by the cerebrum of the forebrain.
Yeah. Nida, next 2 points.
Yes, ma'am. The four lobes of the brain contributes from their end to specify a correct reaction for the impulse received. The reactive impulse is passed to the hindbrain through the midbrain.
Done. Last 2 points, Shivani.
The hindbrain adds more precision to the reaction for the desired reaction. The reaction impulse is carried away by the motor neuron to the respective body part for the action.
Yes. So clear on this movement of the impulses. Now today we are going to learn that whether, now till now we were discussing on plants having, animals having movement like human body. Do plants have movement? Yes, they do have movement. And certain movements which are dependent on the growth of the plant are called as trophic movements. They depend on certain factors. So we are going to study on how plants show movement, what are the different tropic movements, and what are the factors that affect the tropic movement. So the movement based on external factors with respect to the growth of the plant. External factors here means the factors which are present in the surrounding of the plant. Now, surrounding of the plant, if I say factor, it is the sunlight, water, soil, or any other factor which can affect the growth of the plant. Even gravity, even chemicals, all of them combiningly at times make changes or alters the pattern of growth that is seen in a plant. That kind of movement is called as trophic movement. And the movement, this trophic movement is not necessary that always it will be towards the stimulus. Here stimulus means the external factors that are affecting the growth of the plant. So it is not like that always if I say water, so wherever water scarcity, water available in a plenty way. So these are two conditions that we can see in comparison to water, and both the things are quite opposite to each other. So in every stimulus here, it has a positive side and it has a negative side, and the movement is mostly towards the positive side of the stimulus, not towards the negative side of the stimulus. But the movement pace is very slow. So everyday basis, you cannot observe the difference in the plant. But when you leave the plant for a certain amount of time, it definitely shows the movement, and then you can see the movement in the structure of the plant most of the time. Now, these movements are released or are controlled by the chemicals that are released in the body of the plant, which are called as hormones. Now, plants don't have brain like human to think which is the correct action, which is the correct reaction, and accordingly act. So all these movements that happens in plant are mainly directed by the hormones. Hormones, the release of hormone at a particular site only decides how the plant will show the movement. These hormones, they diffuse in the cell. Diffusion of hormone happens. Hormones being chemicals and are dissolved in water or cell sap, you can say plant sap. So they can easily diffuse in the cell and can create a situation in many cells at a time. Like when it comes to brain, if there is a glass of water and you are feeling thirsty, brain is sending message only to your hands to pick up that glass of water. Do you think brain is sending message at the same time to your legs also, not to get up? Yes, anyone can answer. Do you think brain is sending, if you are thirsty, there is a glass of water, how many organs do you think the brain is sending the message? Yes. Anyone can answer.
Ma'am, I think legs, hands, and eyes.
Legs, hands, and eyes. Yeah, how can that be done? Like how it will affect Maisha?
Ma'am, if there is a glass of water in front of us, we first have to see it, and then if it's far away from us, we walk and reach it with our hands.
Okay. And then the hands will pick up the glass of water. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. In this case, what Maisha told, eyes, specific action to realize where is the glass of water. Legs, specific action to walk towards the glass of water. Hands, specific action to pick up the glass of water. The same reaction is not being delivered to all the parts of the body. That means organ specific impulses or organ specific directions are being created. But here in plants, since any organ like brain is not there, so it is not organ specific. It goes to any organ where the movement is required. And hence the movement is dependent on the chemicals that is produced which are called as hormones, not on any kind of impulse. When impulse is created, impulse is always organ specific. When hormones work, hormone can work in any part of the body. That is the basic difference between impulse and hormones. Both of them help in coordination, but impulse is always organ specific, whereas hormones can be released for any part of the body. So moving forward, the first kind of movement that we are going to see is hydrotropism. Hydro means water, tropism means movement. So movement which is dependent on water is called as hydrotropism. Now look at this picture. A plant has been planted. The water container is kept close to it with some minute pores in it. These minute pores is allowing the water to leak and come out in this part of the soil. Or you can say the right side of the plant. So what is happening? Ideally, from the main root, if you see, the plant's root should go straight and the secondary root should grow from both the sides of the primary root. But here, since the water source is on one side primary roots are quite long, whereas the other side primary roots are short. It is because water is available on this side, so the roots are growing longer on this side rather than the opposite side. So this movement of root in only one direction towards the water is called as hydrotropism. Yes, so movement of plant roots towards the direction of water is called as hydrotropism. And as I told, movement related to growth, the roots are growing because of the stimulus. The length of the root is increasing. That means the root are growing in size. Hence it is called as hydrotropism. Clear, children? If you have understood, at least show a thumbs up, or in the reaction you can give the thumbs up. Yes, doubt is there? Who is this? Jyotsna, tell.
Once the root has grown into certain direction, and if the course of the water changes, then the roots grow on that side too?
Yes. If the roots are growing now towards the side where the water is being kept, the roots are growing towards this side. All of a sudden, after a month, we take out the water source from here and we put it on the other side of the plant. Automatically, what will happen? Until now, the roots were too small on the other side. Now they will start growing. And since no water, much water from this side, these roots will start drying, or rather they will stop growing. So the growth of the roots which were happening on this side of the plant, that is the right side, will all of a sudden stop, and the roots will start growing towards the left side of the plant. So based on the change in the direction of the water source, the movement or the growth movement of the roots will also change. That's why it is called as growth specific movement. Yes, Jyoti, is it clear?
Ma'am.
Anyone?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, Farhan?
Ma'am, is hydrotropism only related to roots?
Yes, only related to roots, because that is the only part which is part of plant which is related to water.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubts, children? No? Can I see the thumbs up in the reaction so that I can move on to the next slide? Yeah. Thank you. So moving on to the next one, geotropism. Geo means gravity or soil, gravity of the soil. Tropism, again movement. Look at the diagram very carefully, or the image being shared. Generally, the pots are planted in a horizontal way, but here, vertical way, but here the pot has been kept in a horizontal way. The purpose of keeping the pot like this is it should be parallel to the soil that is below it. Now, when you plant a seedling in a normal pot, the plant grows straight and the root grows down. Here, it has been placed in a parallel way so that equal preference can be given for growing up and growing down. Now, when the plant starts growing, you can see that initially the stem is growing little straight and further it is moving upward. That means it is growing against the gravity. It is not moving towards the gravitational force, that is the downward movement. It is moving in the upward movement because that is the characteristic of plant stem. So though the direction of the pot was changed, still the plant stem tend to grow upward, that is negative geotropic movement. Whereas the root, which has the tendency to move downward, will continue to do that towards the gravity. And here you can see the roots also, initially it is starting a little parallel and slowly it is moving down. So it is a positive geotropic movement of the root. Positive geotropic in the sense it is moving in accordance with the gravitational force. Gravitational force pulls anything downward. The root is also moving downward. So it is positively geotropic. The stem is moving opposite to the gravity. So it is called as negatively geotropic movement. Now my question is, if I plant a plant in an inverted pot, suppose, but inverted pot, I don't mean to say that the mouth of the pot is completely sticking to the soil. There is some space between the mouth of the pot and the soil beneath it. Soil in the sense the place on which I have kept the pot. I didn't kept it exactly in this way, but there is some space between the base and the pot mouth. What do you think will be the nature of the growth of stem as well as the root? My question goes to Vaishnavi.
Ma'am, could you repeat the question, please?
If this pot is now in a horizontal way, if I make it upside down, then also what will be the direction of movement of the stem and the root? In which direction they will grow?
Negatively, I mean.
Yes, Vaishnavi?
Ma'am, will it grow in a negatively?
Which one will grow negatively?
This stem.
The stem will grow negatively. There is one more word.
Root. Negatively geotropic.
Negatively geotropic. And the root will grow?
Positively geotropic.
Positively. Are you telling me or asking me?
Telling you, ma'am.
The stem will definitely grow negatively geotropic and the root will grow positively geotropic. Now all of you might be having a pen and a paper in front of you, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Quickly
yes,
draw and show me how the whole structure will look like.
Ma'am, if the pot is inverted, then the stem will go towards the ground. So that should be positively geotropic, right?
Will the stem grow towards the ground? Okay. Here, when the pot is kept in a horizontal way, some part of the stem do grow in parallel to the soil, but then finally it has moved up. In the same way, if I invert the pot completely to just come out of the soil, and it may take little bit of growing towards the ground, but finally it will come up. Somebody is showing, is there anybody who has finished drawing the diagram? That's why I asked you to draw and show me. I don't need a very artistic diagram, just some lines if you can draw and show me. Keep the pot in an inverted way and show me how the plant and the root will grow. Did anyone finish? My all Picassos are drawing and drawing and drawing. Show me what you have drawn so that the admirer can admire your creativity. Show me. Yes, Shamak? No, you have drawn the one which I have shown, Shamak. I told keep the pot inverted. See the screen, I have drawn a pot somehow with the pen. Not so beautiful pot, but my question is, if it is inverted like this, what will be the growth? All Picassos. Yes, Vivek, can you bring it little closer? I'm not able to see. Correct, Vivek. Correct. Good. I have drawn the pot in the screen to make you understand what is the placement of the pot.
Ma'am,
Yes?
I made this. Can you see?
Correct.
Visible?
Yeah, correct.
Ma'am?
Now, yes, who is this? Shivani?
Yes, ma'am.
Shivani, can you bring little closer? Yes, correct.
Ma'am?
Correct. Jheel?
Yes, ma'am.
One more time. Yes, correct.
Correct.
Who is this? Sidra, can you bring it little closer? Yes, correct. Who else is showing? Shamak, did you make? Anyone else who wants to show how it goes? What?
Ma'am.
Vika, Varda, Nida, Hafsa, all videos switched off and I'm not able to see.
Ma'am, can
I have
I?
the same idea.
Yes, Farhan? Yeah, correct. Yes. Yes. So basically most of you got it correct. If the stem starts growing, it will grow like this and it will then move up. Yes. That means at any cost, it will be negatively geotropic in its movement. In the same way, when root will grow, root will come out and it will move towards the ground. That means towards the base. That will be positively geotropic. So irrespective of the position of the pot, the movement will happen in the way it should happen. That is, whether it is positively geotropic or it is negatively geotropic, as the nature of the plant part says. So if it is stem, it will be negatively geotropic. If it is root, it is positively geotropic. Is geotropism clear to all of you? Can I see thumbs ups on the reactions, or
Yes, ma'am.
can show? Good. So can I move to the next tropism?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I take all those thumbs ups into account and moving forward. One second. Next is chemotropism. Now chemotropism, it is seen in case of development of pollen grains, and it is basically based on the chemicals that are released. Now plants don't have brain to think, but still when the pollen falls from any other plant to a particular flower of a plant, how does the plant realizes that whether it is from the same variety of flower or different variety of flower? Like when the insects move with the pollen stuck on their legs and they move from one flower to another flower, they don't know that whether they are sitting in a rose flower and after that they should come back and sit on another rose flower. They may go and sit on a marigold flower, or they may go and sit on a jasmine flower. But does that mean that the pollen of the rose flower will help in fertilization for the jasmine flower? No, it never happens. If that would have happened, then every now and then we would have seen a new variety of flower growing around us. But we only see rose plants giving us rose flowers, whereas jasmine plants giving us jasmine flowers. So how does that happen? That happens because of chemotropism, movement which is created because of the chemical that is released. So when pollen is stuck on the style, the pollen tube is developed inside the female reproductive part, which is androecium, until it goes round and reaches to the egg cell. Now in the first image, you can see half of the pollen tube being created. In the second picture, you can see the complete pollen tube being developed. Now this development of pollen tube depends upon what kind of chemical is released by the pollen. As soon as the pollen grain comes and falls on the style, it releases chemicals. Now, if the pollen grain has fallen from the same variety of flower, it releases a chemical which is recognized by the flowers, and then the pollen tube starts developing. If it is from any other flower, the pollen tube will not develop. The pollen grain will stick there and it will remain there until it completely dries off, and then it is shrugged out of the flower by the flower. So that kind of movement is seen in the plant, which is required for its growth. Now here if you see, lot of body part is not grown in the plant, but a new pollen tube is definitely growing. The growth of pollen tube is taken into consideration here, and thus chemotropism is considered as a tropic movement. Yes? Now, can anybody name any other chemotropic movement that can be seen in the plant? Anybody? Pranav, where are you? Any other chemotropic movement in plants that can be seen?
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. How photosynthesis? Okay, Dharmin, and how can you relate chemotropism with photosynthesis?
Ma'am, because it produces food through chemical reactions.
Okay. But is any chemical being prepared during photosynthesis? I mean, for the process to happen. The chemical change is definitely happening, because of which the new product is formed. But is any chemical released during that process which helps the process to happen?
Glucose.
That is a chemical change that is happened, but I am asking about, is there any chemical produced which will help in the growth of the plant? That's what is my question.
Glucose or carbohydrates.
Karun, this is Karun, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Formation of glucose and carbohydrate is a chemical reaction that is taking place. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. But chemotropism is when a chemical is released and it causes movement in the plant, then it is called as chemotropism. So chemical reaction and chemotropism are bit different from each other. Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
another example that we give is when a flower changes into fruit, that also involves release of chemicals and it can be considered as a chemotropism. Ripening of a fruit, because of which the increase of size, ripening of the fruit which causes change in color, these are all examples of chemotropism. Yes?
Okay, ma'am.
Correct. So is
Ma'am, I have another point.
Yes, please tell.
Ma'am, is it fertilization of flowers by pollen also?
Fertilization of flowers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is also. Clear? Is chemotropism clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can we move to the next one? Thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is based on the touch. Now, what is this? Which kind of plant is this?
Ma'am, is it touch me not?
Creeper.
No, it's
It's a
not
climber,
touch me
it's a
not.
climber.
It's a climber.
Climber.
Yes. What is the basic character that you see in climber?
Ma'am, it has nodes.
It has
Nodes.
Ma'am,
Okay.
climbers have a weak stem, so they rely on a support.
Yes. So every climber, if we have a money plant, what do? Either we keep it close to a place where it can easily climb, or we put a stick, how it has been shown in the thing. Do you think plants have eyes to see the stick?
Oh, ma'am.
No, no, ma'am.
Definitely not, correct? But how come the plant is growing on the stick, is moving towards the stick? It is actually luck by chance, you know. All those creepers, have you seen those winded small weak growths? These are called as tendrils. If I again draw, though it doesn't come in a much better way, but you might have seen these kind of structures from the stem.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, these are called as secondary stem and they otherwise known as tendrils. Tendrils, tendrils. They are too soft and they are grown on either side of the stem. Now suppose our stick is here. So what happens? The tendril which is growing on this side identifies the stick and starts winding around the stick. And that is how they take the help of the stick to grow. What happens to the tendril on the other side? Anyone can answer. What happens to the tendril of the other side?
Ma'am, does it continue growing till it finds support?
Okay. Is there any other answer? Okay. It will continue till it finds a support, but after a certain period of time, the growth will stop because the plant will realize that there is no support on the other side. So the growth will stop and finally the tendril will remain as it is hanging from the plant. Yes, but once the plant realizes that there is no support on the other side, more and more tendrils will grow towards the side in which the support is present. Hence, when more and more tendrils will grow, the stem of the plant, which should ideally grow straight, will start bending towards the support because of the tendrils. The tendrils are pulling the plant towards the support. It's kind of a stretching. It is stretching and pulling. Hence, the stem will slowly move towards the support, and finally the stem will also start winding around the support. So that is how any climber takes the help of the support which is provided to grow. Now, what is there in the tendril which is helping it to understand? It is the touch. As soon as the tendril touches the hard support, it realizes that there is something on which it can climb. Since the whole growth movement is based on the touch of the tendril, so it is called as thigmotropism. Thigmo means touch, tropism means movement. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone having any doubt?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, as you said that the tendril which is on the other side, it after certain time it stops growing. If after some weeks or months, if there's a support there, will it again start growing?
Yes, it will again. In fact, if you see that the plant is moving towards one particular direction, all of a sudden you remove the stick from that direction and put it on the other side of the direction. Then what will happen? The plant has grown up to certain height. It doesn't have a strong stem to stand. It will fall down. But as soon as it falls down, it will again try to find another support to climb up. During that time, if the plant realizes that the support is on the other side, it will definitely start growing from that side. Yes. So all these tropic movement always have a tendency to change the direction of movement based on the stimulus. Yes. Next one is phototropism. Photo means light. Again, movement based on light. This is a very common example that we see. See the image that has been shared. The sunlight is coming from one side. The potted plant is kept in such a way that the three sides of the potted plant is covered. Keeping it in such condition is because the light cannot reach the plant from any other direction other than the sunlight which is coming from the window. That means the light is reaching to the plant in only single direction. So what is happening to the plant? The plant is moving towards the sunlight to get sunlight. It is very required for the plant to grow in such a way. Now, this plant has shown a movement in this direction. Again, my question is the same thing. Suppose I change the plant's position from there to here. My conical flask moves here, and I change the same plant which is like this. Now you see the light source is here. The plant has already grown with a curve in the stem like this. What do you think the plant will do?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
If it can sense the light, then it will turn its stem towards the light. But
Yes.
if it can't, then it will remain the same.
Yes, but will it be able to sense the light? Looking at the nature of the leaf and the stem, which is always facing towards the light, can we say that it will definitely sense the presence of light towards that direction?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So what will happen? This stem will again start moving towards the direction of the light, and it will move in this direction so that it will get sunlight. You might, all of you might have seen so many plant shows in which they show the stem being twisted and turned in different directions. Yes, have you ever visited any of them? The places where exhibitions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes. If you have not, you can see online also, so many pictures will be available for plant exhibition in which people do exhibit the plants whose stem has been twisted like this, huge big stems. So how the twisting happens? The twisting happens because these kind of atmosphere is created when the plant is too young and the stem is tender so that it can shift its direction. So now you can see this same plant will show a curve in its stem because of the change of the light direction, the stimulus that we have created. Yes? So this is how the plant moves in terms of phototropism. So movement of plant based on the direction in which light is reaching the plant. Yes? Sarvajit, the whole earth will go inside. Okay? Now Sarvajit is yawning too big, I can see. So I will stop here. Otherwise, he will stop the video and yawn even more. So, what are the tropisms that we have learned today?
Hydrotropism.
One. Hydrotropism done. Again,
Pygmotropism.
Pygmotropism, Dishita, yes.
Pygmotropism.
Geotropism, Karun, yes.
Ma'am, chemotropism.
Ma'am,
Chemotropism. And
Phototropism.
Phototropism. And chemotropism. Yes, we have learned 6 kind of tropism. That means 6 different kinds of stimulus which can affect the growth of the plant in terms of direction in which the movement happens. So whenever there is growth and direction both together, it will call as tropic movement. Clear? Direction and growth both together, it will be called as trophic movement. I think till here, is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
You have your Hindi class next.
Ananya,
so enjoy your...
ma'am.
Yes, who is this?
Ma'am, it's Pranavi.
Yes, Pranavi.
Ma'am, what is the portion for our exam?
Portion for your exam? Okay, good question. 4 chapters are going to come. That is 24% of your syllabus. You have chemical equations, life process, and I think Kirti ma'am is dealing with electricity.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
so electricity and acid, bases, and salt. 4 chapters. I think till now teachers might have told you it is an MCQ based question.
Yes, ma'am.
MCQs will come.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am. And how many marks?
Yes,
20.
1 mark. And there is only one definite answer for all the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And you start studying very well, because if the answer is correct, you get 1. If the answer is wrong, you get a 0 or anda to fry off or boil off or make a bhurji. You can choose your own dish to make. Yes, there is no point of retest in it, because as soon as you finish your test, automatically the computer will calculate your marks and it will go to your report card. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. When is the exam?
When is the exam? Who asked this question?
Farhan.
Yes, Farhan, very good question. It will start from 22nd of May. But don't sleep till 21st of May and think that you will get up and read at 21st of May. Yes? Since it's an MCQ exam, children, it is not subjective exam. That anything you write, half mark, 1/4 mark, 1 mark, something you will get. So make sure you have a precise idea on what answer you are being clicked. There may be a chance where you cannot go back and correct your answers. And it is time specific. So one question